Yesterday, health officials delivered recommendations for when students may be able to return to classrooms.
We're being asked as superintendents to make the most important decision of our lives, and we're making that recommendation, which is life and death.
The safety of our schools is a priority, is the number one thing. If you don't have safe schools, nothing else matters, because you're not going to be able to do anything else if your schools aren't safe.
Based on the metrics released today, Arizona is not ready for in-person classroom.
I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable sending them to school. My son is a high risk. I'm afraid that he'll get sick and I won't see him again.
The Arizona Department of Health Services will develop and release public health benchmarks for the safe return of in-person teacher-led classroom instruction. Local school leaders will make the determination and consider these recommendations.
It is a huge weight for any leader in education to be trying to navigate and trying to figure out, how do we keep everyone safe? How do we provide the best services possible that our community relies on? And so these are truly lose-lose situations every turn.
But the on-site services, as I understand them, are for those students who otherwise could not access the virtual learning. So whether that's
This gives you the three benchmarks, and then you can see right here where Gila County, where we're at, right here, has the three X's right here. And we happen to be at all three of them. I'm going to turn on our lights for us. This data that we have right now, we can take it to the county health department and ask for a waiver. And if we're given the waiver, we don't have to bring students onto campus, and that's what we're afraid to do. And this is an area that we're looking at putting kids if we need to. We can offer some good online instruction, but we can't bring back any family members that we would lose, and we've already lost Kim Bird, a wonderful teacher, and we haven't finished grieving for her. Let's see if I can. Going to Miss Bird's room, which is sad. This is really my first time myself going in this room. This is like a lifetime of teaching, and she has books and most of this stuff she bought with her own money. Having lost Kim, in some ways, I feel like it's easier for me to make the decision because I know what can happen. I see it. 3 teachers sharing a room, spread out, social distancing, PPE, wiping down everything. And one teacher brings it in and the other 2 get sick. And of course, Kim, 1 week of teaching summer school, I'm talking to her Thursday. On that Saturday night, she goes into the urgent care and she never came out.
We have approximately 5,700 students, total enrollment. Our free and reduced lunch is at 82% district-wide. We've been on online instruction since August 5th. The story with the superintendent back north and what he's dealing with the death of a teacher in a local, small, rural area, that story can happen to any of us. Even if you think that you did everything right, there is still that high possibility of essential risk. There is no guaranteed. That's what it comes down to. There's measures, benchmarks, guidance. That's all they are. They're just guidelines. There is no really recommendation on what we're going to do. All I know is that if we open now, we're going to be closing pretty soon.
It's been very exhausting, to be honest, because what used to be my, 8-hour days have become 10 to 12. I honestly believe I'm not doing as much as I would do in a regular setting. I have to pretty much cut my instruction because I only have an hour to go online for reading, writing, and math, and that's it. So I got to make sure that I concentrate on what's very important.
Do we do our own expanded form?
Do the expanded form and do the written form just like we did in the example together. But with the delivery of the news that we are opening this Monday, August 17th, and we're gonna have children on campus, it makes me uncertain. Not that I don't wanna see children, because I think that's what I signed up for the rest of my life, to cater and guide these children. But with this pandemic, I think that kind of puts a halt into things and kind of gives me this mix of emotions. Because you're not talking about a cold, you're not talking about a cough, you're talking about a virus that can lead to death.
From the spring break till right now, they haven't gone to school because of the coronavirus. And then they started online school, which is, I think it's pretty neat. Because they're not gonna get sick. I tell him that it's like if he was in school, because they go to bed at 8, regardless if they're not going out of the house, and they wake up at 6, serve breakfast, and then they get online. He gets online for the morning bell work, and then they connect at 8:30. So it's like if he was in school.
It's basically my schedule. We're right here. At 9:30, we go to independent work all the way to 12. Fifth grade, it's kind of hard to understand what she's saying by presenting in Google Meets, because a lot of people are using the internet, and it's kind of loading for a long time. So we get stressed. It's hard, but I like it. I get to learn how to type.
Do you know why you're staying home?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Not preventing to get sick and dying, I guess.
Health comes first. Safety comes first. Not only for you, but for the rest of the household. The pandemic that started, your life changed. So you have to, it can't be the same as it was before. I hope they learn the same as if they were in school, in person. I hope this helps. Because if they say that tomorrow they have to go back to in person, I wouldn't send my daughter or my son to school. Because I don't want to risk it. It only takes one person to infect a lot of persons.
No, this week is the waiver was denied at the county health director's level, and in our case, the subgroups that they're referring to in the executive order is that these subgroups need to be provided a place for them to come and be at. So when you figured, well, if we bring some people back out of 5,600 students that I have, you're gonna have over 700, 800 or more families sending these students. Why? Because our district qualifies for all those subgroups. So that's the confusion. So our waiver was very different than other parts because I was trying to tell them we can't comply with this because it's going to bring hundreds of students back to our schools. I received a call from the Chief of Staff at the Department of Education, ADE, following up with our concerns. With my concern is my communication regarding the waiver denial, and on behalf of department, he said, and Superintendent Hoffman, they understood the contradictions that have been taking place, the misunderstandings, and he was calling to provide full support. We will continue with online for all of our students, as we have been doing, and with the exception of our special education self-contained program. So we will be bringing those students in for services, but it will not be until the 24th of August.
I think one thing that's been very challenging for all of us in the education field is that a lot of these decisions are public health decisions. A lot of these challenges are because we're not trained epidemiologists, we're not public health experts, and yet that's the types of decisions that we're being faced with, is how do we keep schools safe in the sense of teachers and staff? How do we make sure students are safe? Our communities and the livelihoods of our children are at risk here, significantly at risk during COVID-19, and yet how do we make these decisions?
It's opening day, but it sounds like it's like the Major League ballpark. The fans aren't out there. It's kind of sad when you think about it, but today we open for on-site learning, but we had no students show up. And, as you can see, that we kind of made some safe spaces 6 foot apart. It seems like we're rushing to get kids back in the classroom, and because that's where they need to be. But I will agree with them 100%. But when it's safe and it's not putting other people at risk, that's when the time is right, not when we got a virus that is not under control by any means, and we're going to risk lives.
40 students altogether came back, and they're all at 4 sites, distributed among 4 sites. The rest of our students are still on the online program. Yeah. Gracias. Gusto en verlos. Have a great day. I think we pretty much know that there was no state plan, like there was no national plan. So I'm not concerned with the state at this time anymore, and I'm not concerned with any deadlines or any state orders or governor orders or anything like that. It's up to us to make those decisions, and we're going to continue to make the decisions based on the data and based on science. We're just going on a weekly basis. I know that whatever is recommended, it will be our decision only, and no one else's. How are you guys? Good? Everything good? Excited to be back? Yeah? Oh no? Así nomás? Wendy doesn't know. She's like this.